Nestlé provides you with tastier and healthier everyday choices to enhance your quality of life. Nestlé, good food, good life.
With living costs rising and our salaries struggling to keep up, one way we can help our financial situation is by spending our money wisely when it comes to food.
I'm here at the Food Lovers Market to buy some good food on a small budget, because you don't need a big budget to make a healthy, enticing meal. And afterwards, our resident dietitian Kelly promised to make something delicious with the ingredients I bought.
One of the best ways to save money on food is to shop for seasonal produce. Another tip is to reduce red meat consumption by choosing cheaper cuts, eating more chicken, or consider using products like lentils or sardines more frequently.
So I've given my ingredients to Kelly, and it's been a real challenge for her creativity.
It is. You've brought me a lot of vegetables, but that's great because I love cooking with extra vegetables in everything that I make. So what you can do to make a meal a little bit more budget friendly is use less meat and more vegetables. And this recipe is fantastic because it's not really a strict recipe, it's more of a technique. So you can use lots of different vegetables and put them into a food processor, and when you do that you chop them up finely and they all get hidden inside the mince, which is fantastic if you're cooking for kids.
And it's definitely a budget meal.
It's definitely a budget meal.
So what have you decided to make?
I'm making a spicy mince that you can use to make bobotie afterwards, but don't get too stuck on the spices because you can use the same technique and the mince and change the spices to something like oregano and a bit more garlic to make bolognese. Or you can make Mexican mince with some chili and coriander and cumin.
So where do we start?
We start with the vegetables, and you don't need to do anything very serious. Just peel the onion, chop it into some rough bits and put it into the food processor. And then whatever comes first. So I've got 2 carrots and 2 courgettes which are getting a rough chop. Also going into the food processor. And then you can add the mushrooms. If you need to separate it so you don't want to overpack the food processor, that's absolutely fine. You might need to do it in a couple of batches, but just make sure that all the vegetables go in there.
What about the apple? It's quite a strange thing to add to a bobotie.
It does seem quite strange, I know. I'm doing it because I don't want to add sugar. Often when you're using tomato paste like I'm using in this recipe, it can get quite bitter or quite sharp, and the sweetness helps to make it taste nice. So instead of doing just plain old empty calories with sugar, I'm using the apple, which provides some vitamins and some fiber as well.
Adding more vegetables to your meals can introduce interesting new flavors or textures, like cauliflower mash or lasagna with courgette instead of pasta.
All my vegetables are done now. I'm going to move them into a hot pot with some olive oil and stir them around there for about 2 minutes. When the vegetables look like they're nicely done, then I'm adding all the rest of the ingredients. So the mince is going in, and I'll put the tomato paste and all the spices, so mixed herbs, garam masala and coriander. Now that everything's in, I'm adding some water, and that will just help to cook everything and create a nice gravy. So I'm putting the lid back on, and it can simmer like that for about 20 minutes. And when it's done, then you can season it with salt and pepper and you're ready to use it.
The next step in this recipe is to make the topping. This is a type of custard made by simply mixing egg and milk together and seasoning before pouring on the mince.
Kelly, it's absolutely amazing that you've been able to make a traditional dish out of such unusual ingredients.
Well, this is the way that I cook, and usually what I would do is I wouldn't go out shopping for this. I would use whatever vegetables are left in my fridge, so you don't have to stick to the recipe very strictly at all.
The bobotie will bake for 20 to 30 minutes or until the topping has set and is golden brown. Large meals like stews, casseroles and layered dishes can be frozen for those busy days to avoid buying takeaway meals.
Kelly, this looks and smells absolutely lovely.
Yeah, and the best part about it is that when you are using less meat and more vegetables, you are saving money, but you're also really improving your health, because by eating more vegetables, you're eating more of the things that we should be eating.
So it just goes to show you don't have to break the bank to be healthy.
Nestlé provides you with tastier and healthier everyday choices to enhance your quality of life. Nestlé, good food, good life.